Hi, folks. Welcome to some number of Gen Con streams. I think this is the fourth or fifth one now.
It's my first.
It's Mike's first.
It's true.
Thank you for joining us. My name is Kristen Jensen. I work here on the Gen Con marketing team, and today I am joined by Mr. Mike Selinker. Say hi to the folks.
Hi, folks.
We'll be getting going. I can speak today. This is every time. Like, it's like starting an old engine for me on stream. I'm like, get it, and getting there. Anyway, so we'll get our interview going on with Mike here in a few minutes. But first, we've got a couple announcements from customer service, and I sound like a radio host right now.
Exactly,
a couple
like
announcements
a
from
radio host.
customer service.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'll get started on that, so then we can dive into our stuff. Okay, great. Badges are shipping. Yay! This is exciting. So you can look at your My Packets page. It's a hard sentence to say. Your My Packets after signing into gencon.com, and you'll see if your badge has shipped yet. If it hasn't shipped yet, you won't really see a whole lot of information on there, but once it has shipped, you'll see tracking information. You'll be able to track it all the way to your house. So if you don't have your badge already, you will have it soon. Of course, as a reminder, if you have signed up for any events with electronic tickets, those will not be included in those packets because, well,
They're electronic.
They're electronic.
They can't be in the packet.
They can't be in the packet.
They're just pixels.
Exactly. They're just pixels. But you can find your purchased events, you're signed up for events that have electronic ticketing under your My Transactions page. So just go to your profile on gencon.com and you'll find the tabs there. Beyond that, we just announced today that we will be helping Magic to celebrate their 25th birthday at this year's Gen Con. Yay! Happy birthday, Magic! I'm so excited. We have over 400 events over the course of the weekend for Magic alone. And we'll be ramping up into a beta Rochester booster draft on Sunday, which will be super exciting to see all those beta cards laid out like that. I think anyway, because I'm a huge nerd.
20 years ago, right? So we roll up in Gen Con, and they're flinging cards off the railings of the
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And people are scrambling like, what is this thing? Like they're holding
Right.
it up like, oh, I probably ought to take this home, right? And they're all alpha. They're all
Oh my
alpha
gosh.
magic cards that they were literally
my
throwing
gosh.
into space. And people were wandering out with them. It was pretty
I
great.
I have a similar story. So in 94, I would say, I would go to my local comic book store, and it was back in that time. It wasn't just comics. Like you had to get baseball cards and stuff like that too. So they had. Do you remember those little machines where you put a quarter in and twist it,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a card, you could pull a card out?
That's right.
So most of them were baseball cards,
Yep.
but every now and again they had. No, I'm sorry, it was the other way around. So most of them were Magic cards, like
Sure.
Alpha, or they were Beta.
Probably
They were
betas,
Beta.
yeah.
Yeah, they were Beta Magic cards in there. And what you could do is that once you won a like really cool baseball card in there, like I would take that and then trade it for X-Men trading cards.
Of course.
Because
Exactly.
I didn't care about baseball,
No.
but I wanted the really cool X-Men trading
Right.
cards. And so I just put all my quarters in there hoping for a baseball card. But I ended up with this huge stack of beta Magic cards that like I was 10 at that time. And I
Sure.
was like, these are cool, I guess.
Yeah,
But,
they're
like I didn't know what they were for. And
kinda
so they're gone. They got lost
Oh
into
yeah,
space.
yeah. No, everybody has a story like that. My wife got into Magic before I did, and but she got into it from a transactional point of view.
Okay.
She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna sell these to people." And
Sure.
She was
Okay.
super excited when she sold a Black Lotus for $10.
Oh,
It
man.
was pretty great.
For $10.
$10.
You know what the current value on a Black Lotus is?
It's more than $10.
It's more than $10 by a few $1,000s. I believe the last thing I saw on eBay was like 14 grand.
Yep. Yeah, we
Man.
don't have that 14 grand.
No.
No.
You have the $10.
Yeah,
Well, you
we-
had the $10.
That $10 is long gone.
Well, that's all I have from a
Okay,
show
goodbye,
announcement
everybody. This has been great.
standpoint.
Did you mistakenly invite me on your show?
No, I didn't. It was not a mistake,
Are
dear
you
sir. It was
sure?
not a mistake.
Okay,
No.
just making sure.
So we have a few other people that have Scary Kabu says in '94, a store owner slipped a Starbucks revised in my pocket. When I asked him what it was, all she said was, "You'll be back." Wow,
Yeah.
dealers,
That's
dealers,
it.
like having
Hey,
the cards
there
out.
you go. Oh, whatever, just take one. Tick, tick, tick.
Right, you'll be back.
That's
I
good.
love it.
That's good. That's good.
So welcome again. Thank you so much for joining me on
Yeah.
today's stream. It's really good to see you.
Yeah. It's been,
I
it's been a good day. I just came from my mom's house. So she's cleaning out her house because they're moving to Italy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so she showed me a bunch of things she came across. Like she came across my archery certificates from summer camp. I got 2 bullseyes. 2. I didn't even see that.
Here, they're here.
Two.
That's where they
2
live.
bullseyes. Yes. And so yeah, I don't know how many arrows it took to get 2 bullseyes because they didn't have like 2 out of.
Did you bring the certificate?
No, I said home. I didn't bring it. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I didn't know you'd want me to bring it. I should have brought it.
Okay. No, I guess
Yeah,
it's fine.
Well, don't worry. I'll make sure that I scan it.
Great,
and
perfect.
Put it in the show notes. But yes. So I was
Very proud of you though. 2 bullseyes.
bullseyes, yeah.
Congratulations on
Yeah.
that, 10-year-old Mike.
I don't know how many people I shot
Right.
in the process.
How many other instructors had to jump out of the way?
Yeah, but it didn't write that. That also was not recorded.
Sure.
They just recorded the number of bullseyes. It was pretty great.
What else did you find in treasures?
I found. Wow, I don't know if I should admit this on the air.
It's too
I
late.
found a note from my dad that contained information about the time I got caught shoplifting books at a I was so
You sweet thing.
I was adorable. So I never stole anything in my life except
Books.
I would see a book and I would just take it.
I feel like though,
And-
like you just kind of have to. If your child is,
Yeah.
if they're stealing, the only thing they're stealing is books. You
That's
kind of
right.
just have to be like, well,
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
So I got pinched. I was like, I was 11 years old, and I don't know, probably like putting some highlights magazines, in my pocket or
Right,
whatever, and
right.
the big arm of the law got me. Yeah. So I forgot about that, but I got to remember that.
That's
today. I
hilarious.
got to remember my criminal career.
right.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That
Mike.
set me on the straight and narrow.
Sure.
If I hadn't been caught, Lord knows what I
Oh,
would have
man.
graduated
a,
to.
a life of crime.
Right, absolutely.
Surely.
I'm sure, like, the next thing was entire encyclopedias.
Entire, just like in your jacket.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what happened.
Well, are those the only gems you found there?
Oh, no, my entire
Oh.
childhood was laid bare. It was,
So you're
terrifying.
saying you had an emotional day.
I did. Yeah, it was good. It was a good day. But
Good.
and then I skated over here because I wanted to see you.
Well, I wanted to see you too, Mike. I'm so glad you're here. Well, speaking of young Mike,
Young Mike, he's this tall.
young Mike,
Yeah.
let's talk about your early career. Like, how did
Sure.
you get into from stealing books to?
Well, I had to go straight, so I had to come up with some other career path than just stealing puzzle books off a shelf. Right. So okay. So the only other option that was left open to me was to become a game designer. So
Clearly.
no, I started writing when I was really young. I started sending things into Dragon magazine and Polyhedron and what became Dungeon magazine after that, and also to Games magazine. I did puzzles and stuff like that. And
Now, what did you send in exactly? Like,
well, so actually, I would say that the single most influential thing in that period was I went to Gencon. Right. So I went to Gencon 1981. Yeah. So I went to Gencon 1981, and it was in a cornfield. I mean, they had a building over it, but it was pretty much just a bunch of people sitting in a cornfield playing D&D. And
that sounds like a great time.
It was
I'm not
pretty
gonna
great.
lie.
And so, and I saw all the things that I could do, all the things that were active at that point. Games like I bought all of Traveler and I bought and all that, right? And so I was like, I could do this. Like if all these people can do it, like
Sure.
there was I was 13 years old. I was like, if all these people can make all this, why can't I do it, right? Because before that, it was just like the gods would show up and deposit something in a store and I would take it home, right? You don't see it, but when it's everything at Gencon, I mean the dealer room must have had as many as 20 booths in it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, so I know we don't
massive number.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that today.
Right.
But so anyway, so I took those home. I started writing, and I sent. Let's see, the first.
What were you writing? Were you just writing like
D&D stuff?
Okay.
Like I did the. Ended up my first dungeon module was something called Death of an Archmage, which was in Dragon magazine. I did some crossword puzzles for Dragon and also for games. And all this was before I left high school.
Oh man.
And so I was, something like something might look like a professional author, making as much as $75 a paycheck.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And
well, you put that on your resume. Doesn't matter how much you made.
Absolutely. So I got the Dragon stuff even had a third digit.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Yeah, it was pretty good.
I mean, as a high school kid, that's pretty rad.
Pretty good. I could show it off.
Yeah.
Right? By the time I went to college, that's how I put myself through college.
No way.
Yeah, and so shoplifting was not going to work.
Not going to work. You weren't very good at it.
No, it's very clear. So I did that, and then I did, real writing. That is to say, I was a journalist, an investigative journalist for a while, but in Chicago. But while I was doing that, the more serious the stuff I would write about, the more I would write games and puzzles and stuff like that. And then eventually I'm like, why don't I just do this?
Yeah, why not?
And so then I went to Wizards of the Coast and eventually ended up being the creative director for D&D and all that stuff. It just all steamrolled from that point, right? I mean, it was like it wasn't a clear path. It had a lot of bumps along the way, but if you looked at it like just over time, you'd go, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. And then I'm running the thing that
I think a lot of what people get discouraged, the young people get discouraged about earlier in their careers, especially when they're trying to break into a creative field, whether it be through writing books or writing games or whatever they're doing. They probably get, I see a lot of people getting discouraged because they're like, oh man, I'm still working my day job. I'm still doing what I don't want to do. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is that it's not always this smooth rise to the top, right?
Definitely not. No, I mean, I was lucky at the point at which I was scraping by on a freelancer's income. I was also getting my braces taken off at home, right? Like, I mean, I was living in my mom's house, right? And so that helps because you're completely insulated from any sense that there's a real world. But even for folks that start out later, I mean, it's a slow process. You have to convince people that you're good at what you do, and the thing that precedes that is becoming good at what you do.
Sure.
And so a lot of people, want an instant payoff, and that's reasonable to want. But there's really just a lot of I tried this in this one place and people liked it, and then I did this thing over here and people like that, and eventually it steamrolls to being now
kind of figure out what you should do, when you should do it, where you should do it.
And I mean, a lot of it. This is gonna sound trite given what we're doing, but a lot of it is being out in public at places like Gencon.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you're
showing up.
Yeah, showing up. Right, being part of the thing. So if you're not going to Gencon and PAX and Origins and those places, well, no one's gonna notice you and no one's gonna talk to you, and that's why
the internet's a big place.
Yeah, and so you get swallowed up, and so at a convention like Gen Con, you can just have face-to-face interactions with all the publishers, and which is basically what I do when I go to Gen Con.
Right.
Is talk to people who publish my stuff and people who I want to work for me and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what advice would you have for people wanting to get into game design?
Well,
We talked a little bit about it, right? Like
yeah,
practice.
yeah. I mean, like, but then I'd give that advice if you were trying to do anything.
Sure.
Right. I mean, I would not recommend, starting your mountain climbing career with K2. Right.
Right.
Like you
Yeah.
should. There's always the same kind of advice of work hard.
Right.
Get your nose to the grindstone like that. No, that's all that's true about everything. But now especially, I give the same advice, which is become the person known for that thing, right? Just be the person who did something, right? Made it, put a thing up on the internet that everybody was talking about, or runs the live action events of this particular kind at Gencon or whatever, right? Like do something that makes everybody goes, you know who you're going to need for that. You're going to need Kristen because she did that one thing.
Sure.
Right?
So find something that you're passionate about.
Yeah, just
and
do it. Right. Do one thing. Don't take on the whole.
Right.
Like I have got to be some great game designer. I've got to put out a massive big box game. I got to run. Don't. Just do one thing and make sure people know about it, and then do another thing and make sure people know about it, and then eventually everybody's just going to know about it.
So you mentioned getting face-to-face with people. So if you are an aspiring game designer or illustrator or game-adjacent person, just getting in front of people at conventions is going to be really helpful. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and having the confidence to just pitch your stuff, right?
Yeah, it's terrifying. And it's not ever going to not be terrifying.
Sure.
So you might as well accept that it's going to be terrifying and just be terrified while you're doing it. Right?
Yeah. That's good advice, actually.
Yeah.
I like that.
I have a little card I carry around sometimes, which is, just says, it's a note to imposter syndrome that says, Mike Selinker says I'm awesome, get out.
I love it.
Because there's no reason if you can accept that there's people who've been doing this for a long time and they're already out there and so forth, you're already dealing with that. You might as well not pile it on yourself.
Right.
Right. So
don't be mean to yourself. As well.
At a convention like Gencon, which I hope everybody is going to, right? There's you got what, about 8,000 people that go to the show.
More or less, yeah.
Okay, so you cut through that group of people, right? And you walk right up to the booth and you say, "Hi, I would like to talk to the person who looks at game submissions, 'cause I brought one with me." Now, the first step is to have actually done that.
Sure.
Right? Like that's the big step, right? You never want to walk into a booth at a convention and say, I would like to talk to you about my idea.
Okay. So have something solid. Have something made.
There's nothing that happens after that sentence other than "Go away, kid, you bother me."
Sure. That's great advice too.
But if you show up with something, right? It's like, I've been playing this. I like it. I showed my friends. They like it. And then I showed some people who aren't my friends, and they still liked it.
Yeah.
Right? So I put it together, and I want to show you.
And I think that also shows that you've got someone who's putting effort into what they're doing, right?
Exactly. If you're not willing to put the time into getting ready for that meeting, why should anybody take the time to take the meeting?
Absolutely.
Right?
Man, I feel like I should be taking notes. This is like good life advice from Mike Selinker.
You're the one who got me here. I'm here for you.
Oh, well, this is great.
So, yeah, but I mean, that's the thing, right? Gencon is a big, overwhelming place. It's never going to not be that.
Right. So just accept it.
Yeah, just cut through it. Just go, I got a thing. It always helps if you can set stuff up in advance.
Sure.
Right? Like if you can send a note saying, hey, I'd like to meet with somebody there.
I'll be at Gencon.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And sometimes you'll get a response and sometimes you won't. But regardless, go up to them and just say, hey, if anybody's got some time, I got a thing I'd like to show you. And then they'll figure out some way to tell you, okay, here's how you actually do that.
Right.
Right. And yeah, there's lots of opportunities because game publishers need games.
Yeah, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
Everyone benefits from that.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to give the audience a chance right now to ask their questions. If you guys have any questions for Mike, I'm going to put you on the spot here, Mike. Have at us. We've got the chat up here, and we're looking and we're waiting. And if you have any questions, whether it's about getting into game design or the gaming industry as a whole, or even if you just want to ask Mike about other stuff he found at his parents' house, have at us.
Seriously, there's a lot of good memories there.
Well, speaking of good memories, while we wait for the questions, tell us about your experience with going to Gen Con. When did you said your first Gen Con was
First one was 1981. So I was 13. It was at the University of Wisconsin at Parkside, which I'm sure still exists. And my dad went with me because I couldn't go alone. We, as I mentioned, literally walked through a cornfield to get to the convention.
Right.
Several miles. Not joke. That is not a joke. There was
awesome.
a single bus that went from all the little motels, right? And they literally were all like one-story motels.
Flat, like motels.
Yeah, for motels, right? Individual little cabins, whatever. And there was one bus that came around every, 3 hours. And so if you wanted to go to the show, you got up, you walked in August in a cornfield in Wisconsin to the convention, and then you got there, right? But it was kind of an amazing thing for me as a kid. My dad described it as like spending 3 days in an airport.
I can imagine for someone who's not quite dialed in.
No, he was like, "What is the appeal here?" Right?
But he had to hang out with you because you were 13.
I was 13.
Yeah.
So flash forward to 1985. I'm 17. My first sort of real experience with Gen Con, now it's in Milwaukee. I had just come from the Young Writers Summit in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and come to the Mecca in Milwaukee, and it's this gigantic facility, and I start to see just how sophisticated the operation is. So, for example, now there's thousands of events, right, and they're all literally hanging on pegboards.
Okay.
Every single ticket is hanging from a J hook, and so you would
to sign up, essentially,
you would come up and you would say essentially, "Oh, I want to go to the NASCRAG event."
Yeah.
And a human being would turn around, walk down a row,
find
as if
that
they're
event,
playing Battleship, and pull it off if it's available, or if it's not, literally turn right around to you and go, "No, that's not available.
Wow.
Would you like to try again?"
Something else,
Yeah, and this occurs a billion times. It was amazing. So it's amazing that Gen Con actually makes it into the computer industry after that. But
we made it.
Yeah, congratulations. But it was huge. It was magnificent, and I was like, I'm never missing another one of these in my life. Like, I'm just never gonna do that, and I haven't missed one since.
You haven't?
No.
Wow.
I've gone to, what is that, 34 straight Gen Cons?
Yeah, that's 34 years.
Yeah. I just can't imagine what my summer would be like without going to Gen Con.
Without Gen Con.
Yeah. So, all sorts of things happened there. I got married at Gen Con.
Did you really? I didn't know that.
So,
oh my gosh.
Yvonne and I, so I made the decision to move out to Wizards of the Coast. I was born in Seattle, but I made the decision to move back from Chicago to go to work for Wizards.
Sure.
And Yvonne and I were like, "Oh yeah, we should really schedule a wedding or something." And
we should do this.
Yeah, well, we were like, when we decided to get engaged, we're like, "Oh yeah, and we'll take care of that at some point."
Some way, yeah, it doesn't
like,
matter. Yeah.
Thinking of moving away from everyone she's ever met in her life, and so we knew a lot of our friends were showing up at Gen Con.
No,
right?
is Yvonne a gamer too?
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. That's nice to have a partner.
We met at Winter Fantasy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
That's perfect then.
So, she was at a table of mine that I was running for the RPGA. She was playing some sort of origami frog. I'm not 100% sure how that happened, but that was what happened.
That's your memory of the event. Okay.
That's right. And then I was getting drunk at the safe house, and she came up
like one does.
Yeah, and somebody said, "Oh, Mike, I want to introduce you to Yvonne," and I stood up and I kissed her and sat her down.
You did not.
On the first day, yeah.
No, you didn't.
I swear to God. It happened. There was a lot of alcohol. Anyway, it worked.
It worked.
Don't
She
do
was
that.
into it.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's a terrible idea. But,
Please no.
But for God's sake, but it absolutely. We had the origami frog moment before.
Sure.
Anyway, point is, shortly thereafter, right, we're thinking of, okay, we're going to move out to Seattle. Yeah. So we get married at Gencon. We have our wedding reception in the Safe House, and get married at the Pabst Theater. And, I still have people who tell me that one of the most exciting things they ever did was dress up in a tuxedo the day before Gencon because they had to go to a wedding.
That is so awesome.
And so yeah, and she's been back a bunch to Gencon since.
What a lovely story. That's great. I didn't know that about you.
No, it's true.
Man, I'm even learning new things about you on this stream. This is great. I'm excited.
I know about my number of archery.
I know. Yeah, now I know about those 2 bullseyes
That's
and
really
the shoplifting history.
Yeah, it's really important stuff.
So we've got a couple questions here.
Okay, good.
And we can get back to Gencon fun here in a second.
I got a million of them, kids.
That's great. Good. No, we want to hear it all. Let's see. What's the best experience? Actually, we have a Gencon question. What's the best experience you had?
Other than the married thing.
Other than getting married.
Yeah.
Second best.
I can't say anything gets to top that because Yvonne is planning to pick me up after this. And
sure.
I think
so
she sees the internet. And all
yeah.
that.
She's aware of the internet.
She knows the Reddit exists. So no. My favorite experience. There's a lot of them. They're all like little blips. Like at one point, I was running the Marvel Superheroes Adventure game. I'd written a game called the Marvel Superheroes Adventure game, and we decided to do some events you can only do at Gencon. So we did one that was a big Marvel game where we had all these large action figures, and we built an entire New York City.
Oh, cool!
Right, and the whole point was that we built it out of foam so we could wreck it.
Sure.
Right. So everything was going to be
like
smashed and so a giant rampage game. Right. It was great. And so we're shipping stuff out, and I put the Galactus figure on top, face down. Now this is a Galactus figure that when you press the center button says "I hunger."
What's the video game from the 80s?
Oh.
Come on.
I know what you're.
What is it? Help us out, chat. Was it? It's a skull.
Yeah.
And he says, "I hunger."
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, go on.
So anyway, yeah.
It'll come to us.
So so we pack them.
Sinistar.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. So yeah, we pack it in. And then my guys in the shipping department tell me that they were getting ready to go, and the box just kept saying "I hunger" over and over again, and I just have this vision of it going like to the Gencon loading dock.
Right, it's late at night. You're tired. It's been a long day. You're just trying to get your job done and get out.
I hunger. So Gencon has like all those memories like that, right? Like it's all these little flashes. It's never just the one big thing because there's always like 20 different things. Every show that you walk out, the first time you knock down the Cardhalla, through the coins and knock down Cardhalla, all that. I think probably the most notable one that I remember was for 1 year, Wizards of the Coast had bought Gencon, bought TSR and then bought Gencon, and they didn't have any idea how to run it. And so I actually helped out by running the registration.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I ran registration for a year. And so normally I wouldn't think, oh, this is going to be one of my great moments because registration is brutal. Right?
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do.
And running a convention it's a whole
it's crazy.
Different animal,
so,
yeah.
but I was actually
can't fault them.
I was having a pretty good time. Thursday, having a pretty good time. All these people, making them all happy and all that. And I see Gary Gygax. And Gary sees me and comes over to me and is like, "Hey Gary, how you doing?" And he says, "Mike, I have a question for you." And I say, "Sure, Gary. What is it?" He says, "Can you get me into Gencon?"
Wait, what?
Because they, in the process of buying Gencon, they had and buying TSR, they had mended fences with Gary Gygax
Sure,
and all
yeah.
that. And they invited him to the convention, but nobody
actually gave him a
gave him
badge or
a
anything?
badge or told him where to go or
Oh,
anything.
no.
So he's wandering around with 5 members of his family,
Yeah.
just seeing if somebody
Oh,
would let
no,
him in. I was like, Gary, I can get you.
I
into
got
Gen-
you. I got you. Don't
yeah,
worry.
So I was like, whatever you're doing, I said to the person, whatever
Yeah.
it is, finish it up and give this person and
Yeah.
everybody he wants.
Oh, my gosh.
Guest of honor passes.
Oh,
right?
no.
So yeah, I mean, like little things like that.
Sure.
There's a lot
That's
of
too
personal stories. It's all everybody has a million of them.
That's awesome. We have another good one actually about game design. So, what kind of team, realistically, Spider Spawn is saying, what kind of team realistically would it take to get a game off the ground and to the market?
There's a great word in that sentence, which is team.
Yeah.
Because everybody is like, I'm a game designer.
Right.
I got to do everything.
Right.
No, you don't.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot of work. Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of work. I mean, you can see the obvious ones. If somebody should write the game, and there should be lots of people playtesting it, and somebody should illustrate the game, or there should be a number of people illustrating it. Like, those are the obvious things. But it really helps if you have somebody who's actually, knows something about how to make stuff. Right,
like actually manufacture.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff.
Somebody who's good at shipping things is pretty great. But basically, I kind of advise people that instead of saying, I'm gonna go to the game industry and show it what I can do, just go meet everybody in the game industry, and teams will form around you. Right, like people will say, you'll be playing your game with somebody, and like, oh, this is pretty great. I know a guy who'd be really great to do the art for this.
Would love to be in on this.
Oh,
yeah.
I know this woman. She does logos, and she did this cool one over here. And it'll just all happen.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think that in the question of sort of team size, you never want to lose track of what you're doing, so you need it to be 10 or less people.
Right.
And you never want to be just autopiloting by yourself,
It's too much to take on.
Yeah, so I don't know, 2 to 4, 5 people, it just can get a game to market. Now, if you do the kind of stuff I do, well, then it's a little harder because it's like our games are massive, but getting a game to market, like less than half a dozen people.
And I mean, realistically, would you say that it's better to try for something smaller, more manageable, like a bite-sized game first?
I don't know if you're asking the right person for that question, because I don't. Like, of course, the answer is yes.
Well, maybe the answer isn't yes. Maybe the answer is
of
that
course it is, 'cause
you start with something bigger and you make it better and you make it better and you make it better with your team until okay. So just get something out.
Don't be me, kids. Look at this face here. Don't be this, because I always take these gigantic projects that take 3 years to make, and everybody's like, when are you going to be done with that? I'm like, I'm not done with it, right? So, no, make something cool. Just get it out there.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, even make something that maybe isn't as cool as you think it could be.
Yeah, it's
right?
fine. Yeah, make the first version of the thing you're going to make. Like, all this was advice I would love to have gotten at some point, actually, because all I do is make colossal monstrosities, and it takes forever to do them, but we have a really great team at Loanshark that is up to that challenge every day.
Right.
But without it, I couldn't do anything. Like, I can't do anything solo.
Right. Good team. It's good to have good friends.
Hey, it says, I just look over to the questions because I'm just letting you run this, right?
Yeah.
But it says, what is the best experiences you've both had at Gencon? You left that word both.
I did leave that out intentionally, actually.
Have you ever been to Gencon?
This will be my very first Gencon.
I
have never been before. So the really cool thing about being brand new to this company is that I get to talk to wonderful guests like you, and I get to learn about the almost 17,000 events we have running at Gencon. And I'm like, every time I'm like, oh my gosh, you can do that at Gencon? You can do this at Gencon? Oh man, my mind is blown every time. It's so cool.
So what we need is, in the comments, we need like the list of things Kristen has to do at Gen Con.
Oh, I feel like I need to work.
No,
at Gen Con.
whatever. No. The first year, no. Everybody knows this. Your first year, you just go to learn. You don't actually have to do anything. That's how Gen Con works.
I'll tell my boss.
Yeah, no, I just tell him I said that.
All right.
That's how it should be. But no, you find time. You gotta
Yeah.
do these things.
No,
'cause you gotta
I'm
be
planning
in all
to.
of them.
Yeah,
So everybody should do that.
I mean, I've got a few favorite games, and I definitely want to be able to sit down and really just experience, the thing that we work so hard
Yeah.
for the entire year. This is Gen Con. Not everyone knows this, but we're a very small company
Yeah.
where we have about 15 employees, and all of us are just like dedicated nerds that are really passionate about making, this wonderful, safe, cool space for other really cool nerds,
Yeah, I mean, you should just get a list of like things you have to see happen just once.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Mhm.
not even like, okay, I'm gonna go play Mega Civ. No, you can't
Sure.
do that because that's
But
9 hours.
what if I wanna do that?
Then you
I love Civ.
Well, then you should plan to quit your job
Yeah.
on Saturday
Okay.
because it will take all Sunday.
Right. All right. That's fair. That's fair.
But like say, okay, I am gonna play like one cool
Yeah.
game I've never seen in the dealer's hall. I'm gonna
Mhm.
go do a run through True Dungeon. I'm gonna just
Yeah,
whatever,
absolutely.
right? And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean like because it is overwhelming. You can't do all of it. You'll miss nearly everything. So you might as well just do some of it.
I think the fun thing that I get to do is that working in, essentially our media department is I get to go take pictures of everything.
Yeah,
I get
there
to
you
go,
There you
so
go.
I get to see all the really cool stuff happening, and I get to take pictures of it. I'm super excited to check out our first exposure playtest hall.
Oh, I love First Exposure.
It's so neat, there's so many cool games coming out
yeah.
in the FEF,
Yeah,
and
so many great games came through that point too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you get to see whatever Luke Crane might be working on, or
Yeah.
Tommy Morangis, or any of those designers who've got a new thing, and you're like, oh wow, is this going to be the future? Because that's the future.
yeah, absolutely. And you get to give your feedback too.
Yeah.
Like the thing that you say, hey, it'd be really cool if this game did that, or if it had this art, that might be what they roll with. And that's
Yeah.
pretty fun.
Exactly.
Also like the BGG Hot Games Room, that's going to be super fun to go check
Sure.
out as well.
Yep, yep.
All the hot new games coming out of Gen Con.
There are a few of those.
We've got a few more questions
Bring it.
here now that I've answered the question.
Yes. Well, I
My
put
side of
you
the
on
question.
the spot because
You did.
I knew the answer to that question. I was like, it's a softball.
Thanks, Mike.
You're
Thanks. Let's see. What was your favorite setting to write in Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh, I mean, I got to write in pretty much all of them. I mean, there's some that are like way off the beaten path, like Dark Sun and stuff like that. And those are nice little hookups every now and then, right? But
Sure.
for the real relationship is with the Forgotten Realms, I think. I mean, it's
Mhm.
just the biggest thing. I know. I had a sort of special interaction with the Forgotten Realms when we made the third edition Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realms, which I was one of the creative directors on third edition, and one of the fans sent in this lovely note, this email to everybody to the person who ran the department, Bill Slavacek, who shared it with all of us, saying how much they loved what we'd done with Forgotten Realms. They really brought it into the new era. It's great and so forth. And so I replied to that email. Wow, that guy's going to be really upset when he finds out we killed Elminster. And then I went to lunch.
Oh, no.
I didn't realize that the guy who'd sent in the thing was on that email thread.
Oh, no.
And
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so I spent the rest of the afternoon telling the internet that I was just joking. We
Just
hadn't
kidding.
actually
Sorry.
killed the most popular character in the history
Oh, my
of the
gosh.
game.
Oh,
And-
Lord.
And so that's how I got banned from the internet. by
Whoops.
Wizards of the Coast. But
Whoops.
yeah, I mean that's fun. I mean, obviously I like this stuff. For me, actually, I think the most fun is creating something that nobody's ever seen. And so, we got to make all sorts of new things. I got to be involved in helping Keith Baker make Eberron and all that. It's
So
just-
cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
It was good.
Let's see. So we have a couple people asking about the puzzle hunt, and I feel like we
this
can
is-
answer this
yeah,
jointly.
so
I know
yes.
it's a sad
Sure.
story.
It's not a sad story.
It's a little sad because
It's
there's a few
not.
people that
Okay, so look,
are passionate
here's
about
the
it.
thing. We started the Gen Con Puzzle Hunt 15 years ago, when there was like not there really wasn't any cross convention events.
Sure.
Right? Like there was just like you would go and you're saying, "Oh, I'm going to go play Dungeons and Dragons."
I'm gonna do
in
this thing, this
slot.
thing, and this
Yeah,
thing, and this thing,
it.
and then
There
that's
was
it, right?
nothing unifying the convention. We were in a brand new space in Indianapolis, and we said, "Let's build this thing that makes you go everywhere and be a part of everything." And it was very popular.
Sure.
Now there's like 100 of those things.
Yeah.
Right now there's a million different things you can do. Just interact with, of course, in the course of the convention. And so eventually we were just like, I guess we're spending a lot of time writing a thing that people can just get all in a number of different ways.
Right.
And so this year was our first year that we're not going to do the Gen Con Puzzle Hunt.
And we appreciate you running it for so long.
Yeah,
And I can imagine that it got huge.
it was very big. It was a big part of our year.
Yeah.
And another way to look at that is, in the summer, instead of going out and having fun, we were writing the Gen Con Puzzle Hunt, right?
Yeah.
And so it was nice to actually go through this lead up to this coming Gen Con not having written it. But who knows? I'll still do puzzle events at Gen Con, right?
I mean, you're very passionate about puzzles, right? I think everyone who knows about Mike Selinker knows that Mike loves puzzles.
If you want puzzles, just come to our booth and check out the Maze of Games. We'll help you out. In fact, I can't announce it.
Do you?
I was just about to say something, and now I got to figure out how to say exactly what I want to say without screwing up and being told I screwed up.
Well, we can just move on.
No.
Right.
This is the thing I want to say.
Trying to
If
help
you like
Mike.
puzzles, we are doing a thing at Gen Con. You will know about it the day before Gen Con.
Okay.
On August 1st, there is a big announcement that we will make about puzzles, and you will come, and it affects Gen Con, and you will come to our booth if you like that kind
I'm
of thing,
excited.
and we'll have a puzzle thing for you.
So follow Loanshark Games on Twitter, on Facebook.
Yes.
So it's on Twitter. It's at Loanshark Games, all one word, and you can find them by searching Loanshark Games on Facebook as well. Cool.
Wait, what else?
All right, what else do we have? What does she like game-wise? Me?
You.
I love Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, they have some of that.
They have. I've heard there's a few things you could do related to D&D at Gen Con.
Just a little.
One of my what else do I love? I love anything where it's kind of like abstract strategy. So if I can learn something really quick, if it's like rules light, but it takes a lot of like thinking and like especially like communication. Like honestly, I love diplomacy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not. So you don't have any friends left.
No, I don't have any friends.
This
is why I have to interview people and be like, so, you want to play games sometime?
I promise to best stab
we
you.
can play diplomacy.
It's a great game, though. It's absolutely great.
One of my favorite ones actually picked up recently was TAC.
Oh, we love that.
And if you've watched our stream before, you've heard me talk about TAC before. It's a little bit like chess, designed by James Ernest. And it's super easy to learn, and it's just fun, I think, anyway, to
James is my design partner for, we've been making games together for over a decade.
Yeah.
And when he showed me TAC, I was just like, I don't know whatever else you're doing, but do this a lot.
I love
right?
it.
Because
I love it.
It is... there are many abstract strategy games that are good. I certainly don't want to suggest that one is better than another. I mean, obviously, I love like Hanabi and all the works by Bruno Faiduti and all this. But boy, TAC is so easy to explain, and yet you will spend your time saying,
just sitting there.
I've beaten James at TAC.
No way.
Once.
Oh.
I've played him probably 30 times.
But
I have beaten him once, which makes me very happy. But yes, if you haven't played TAC, it's great.
Now, speaking of puzzles and games and a lot of gaming knowledge, we here at Gen Con, we recently competed in a local tabletop gaming tournament for a charity called The Gauntlet, run by one of our local game stores, Mox Boarding House.
Yes.
Mike, you helped out with that a bit, didn't you?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. So you wrote the last part of the tournament.
The Gauntlet is a very big deal in Seattle. So in Seattle, we have probably more game companies per capita than anywhere else in the world. right? I mean,
Yeah.
we've got something like 400 game
Yeah.
companies. And we all see each other all the time. Like, you can't walk down the street without tripping over a game
that's true.
designer.
Yeah.
And so,
we like it because it's like rainy and overcast here, and then we can spend all of our time
Right.
indoors
So,
and not feeling bad about it.
literally
Right.
last night. What were we doing last night?
We were having a game industry event.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had a game industry event, and a whole bunch of game designers came to Gencon, sponsored it, and we all just played, right?
Yeah.
We all just hung out and played games.
Mhm.
So we see each other all the time, and we're great friends, and we support each other, and it's very positive. But every now and then, we just want to beat the hell out of each other.
Sure.
And so the gauntlet exists to pit every game company against every other game company. And so Bungie comes out for this, and Microsoft, and
and Wizards of the
Coast,
Coast,
Paizo,
Twitch sent some
Twitch,
people.
everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody who's here fields a team. And what happens is they're told a bunch of the games in advance, and they get real good at it. So you were at Mox. Am I remembering this correctly? You were at Mox the day we were planning our...
Yeah,
right.
And I didn't... I didn't even, like, obviously I didn't expect to run into you there
exactly.
or anything.
So there's a final round, and they're never allowed to know what the final round is.
The participants.
So they can't prepare for it, and they have some resources that they might dedicate to it or might not dedicate to it. They don't have any idea what it is. So Paul Peterson and I, Paul is the designer of Smash Up and Guillotine and other great games. He's my co-designer on the Pathfinder adventure card game, and Apocrypha and such. And so, as well as another game, which I'll show you in a minute. And he said, let's do a puzzle hunt for the gauntlet. And we're like, oh yeah, that'll be fun. People haven't seen that before. And so we built a game-based puzzle hunt, and we were testing it. We were going to test it the day of, a few weeks beforehand, and literally the first thing that happens, we get to the thing, we're all ready to go, we're going to test it, we're going to use the whole space, is Kristen walks up and says, hey Mike, what are you doing here?
I ruined everything.
And I'm like, oh, we need a secret space to get away from her.
I ruined everything.
Because she was literally there to play the games that were in the gauntlet.
No, I was there to practice with my friends.
Exactly. I was like, wow, this is the dumbest idea. So, but we managed, and we did a thing, and it was very cool. People had to bring their game knowledge, but also their puzzle skills, and it was fun.
Was super freaking hard, is what it was.
It was pretty hard.
It was hard.
Yeah.
We got 2 hours, I think.
Sounds right.
Yeah. So our team, we had teams of 4, and each team had, all teams had 2 hours to complete this puzzle hunt event, and like Mike just handed us this fat stack of papers, and he was like, "Go."
Yep. Good luck.
And oh my gosh, you had to decode puzzles based on games.
That's right.
And like some of the games was, pretty, not easy, but like they were straightforward. But other games, I was like, I have literally never heard of this game in my life.
Yeah. Well, you had this resource called keys, which you could spend to get a copy of the game.
Sure.
But you definitely didn't have enough of them to get all of them.
No.
And so sometimes you had to say, all right, I think I know what Chutes and Ladders is.
Right.
Like, I think I can go with my knowledge of Chutes and Ladders. I got the rules probably down pat, right?
Right.
But not some of the other ones. Not like King Domino was new to a lot of people and stuff like that, right? So.
Such a good game, though. Oh my gosh, King Domino, Queen Domino.
Yeah.
That was super fun. Team Gencon got 17 out of 20 puzzles completed.
You guys were,
when the buzzer rang.
I think you.
I felt pretty good about that performance.
You guys were 4th
in that specific.
in that event.
Yeah,
I think you were 4th. Yeah, which was really good. I mean, the one team, the Forest Prezan folks.
Oh my gosh,
they just blazed ahead.
It.
But everybody else was like, Selinker, I won't take this out on you later.
Oh yeah, people were real mad.
Yeah, but they really enjoyed themselves.
So it was funny. We had one of our employees was filling in on another team, and they had to leave early. They couldn't finish the puzzle, so he came by our desk area to say goodbye to us. And it's like 20 minutes remaining, and we're just like, what do you want?
Yeah. No.
Go away.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, not interested.
We felt so bad. We were like, this is what's happening right now.
Not your friend today. Yeah, I get it.
Let's see. I think Number 9. Oh, I haven't heard about that one.
Number 9's fun. It's a game where you have it's NMBR9.
Mm-hmm.
You have a bunch of numbers that are weird shapes, and you essentially have to stack them on top of each other. But the ones below you can't put a number on top of a number that's higher than it.
Okay.
Right? And so you're like, I can fit this one over here.
Uh-huh.
No, I can't because it blocks this one, right?
Mm-hmm,
so it's a good game.
I also like games where like I can pretend like I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And then screw over the person.
Uh-huh.
So
why did you tell people you knew how to play diplomacy then?
I know, right?
That may not have been the right call.
Well, people just assume. Like people look at me and they're like, "Oh, let's look at this little blonde girl. She's gonna play some diplomacy with me, huh?" You know, and I totally play into it. But my partner taught me 1960.
The Kennedy.
The Kennedy and
game.
Nixon one. Yeah, and that was super interesting. I really liked that one. That was super fun as well. Game. So, like war games, I'm super into, which I don't know, it's kind of weird, but I don't know. I like war games.
Why is that weird?
I don't know.
Not weird to me.
Oh, well, that's good. Maybe I'm just self-conscious about it. You know, like I should like normal cool person games. I don't know.
I'd like to think that since I have written a lot of war games that you're still a normal cool person.
All right. Yes, I have Selinker's stamp of approval.
There you go. So yeah, there's all sorts of games at Gen Con. You should play some.
I'm absolutely planning on it. So let's talk. Speaking of Gen Con, let's talk about Loanshark Events at Gen Con.
Yes. Okay. Sure. So so we have 3 games that we're really focusing on. We're in a space between Pathfinder sets.
Yep.
We had one last year at Gen Con. We'll have one next year at Gen Con, but this year we don't have a big one. The 3 games we're focusing on are Apocrypha, The Ninth World, and Thorn Watch.
Yeah.
So Apocrypha came out last year. It's our sort of horror. It's a weird game. It's set in the modern day, which means it literally takes place on the day you're playing it, and we have an app that modifies the game.
What?
Yeah.
Well, that's so rad.
Yeah, every day you play a different game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to play this, and this is Apocrypha, right? Okay,
yeah, so
and
Apocrypha.
If Jordan wouldn't mind.
There you go. Boom.
Boom.
Look at that.
I know he's on top of it.
Look at that. That was very impressive. I just think I'm going to try something random and see if I can get him to scramble through the Gen Con site. Tell me about My Little Pony events at Gen Con, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So no, okay. So Apocrypha, it's a game that plays as either a game against the game, like most of our co-op games, or as a straight RPG. And there's both versions of that at Gen Con. We have some games, for all of our games, that are play and win. That is,
I think they're all play and win events.
So yeah, some of them are going to be.
Most of them.
Yeah, a bunch of them are, and the ones we're going to. Some of them are going to be modified into regular events.
Okay.
But for the most part, the ones on the site now, they're play and win, which means if you show up, you get a $10 gift certificate to our convention or to our
so immediately, so you show up and you just get $10 off any game.
$10 off anything we produce. Yeah.
Great.
And then one person at the table walks away with the game we're actually playing.
Is it signed?
It will be by whoever's running the game, I'm sure.
Right.
We're gonna sign all of them. So that's.
I just put you on the spot there. You're like,
No, we have that already planned.
All right.
All
Okay.
right, you didn't make me. The thing I don't know necessarily is whether or not we're gonna pre-sign every game, knowing that we're not gonna get it back or whatever. But we'll figure it out. So Apocrypha, a lot of people know about. I got 2 new games that are debuting now, and we'll see their first Gen Con experience. Can I show you what they are?
Yes, absolutely. Super excited.
Okay.
Ooh, this is exciting.
So the first one, see this box, is called The Ninth World. It's by me and Paul Peterson and Bo Radakovich.
Here.
Yeah.
So it has a nice shiny cover, as you can kind of see here.
Yep.
Very beautiful art.
Yep. And it's a pretty cool box. Let's see if I can do this on camera. It sort of comes apart like this. It's got a big map all over it. And there's a board that
oh my gosh
out. Oh wow, it's right up front. There's a board that sort of spews off the top, and there's all sorts of stuff inside.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, this is a game.
Wow, this is gorgeous, Mike.
It's a game set 1 billion years in the future, and it's a collaboration we did with the folks at Monty Cook Games, who we love. And
Can we
yeah,
can we show these at all?
Absolutely.
Like this art and on these cards is
just came out this
really
week.
really cool.
Just came out this week.
Yeah.
And
you can show the folks here on stream. We've got some
dinosaur-headed fella.
Yeah.
And
it's a little bit hard to see, but oh my gosh.
And anyway, so and there's all sorts of cool places to. Oh, you got it. You're good. Okay. You're good. You're good. Go ahead.
I know the camera's having a little hard time focusing there.
Got all sorts of cool places to go and all that. Anyway, so this thing it's set 1 billion years in the future, and you get to go out and find all the cool artifacts and beat up all the monsters and go on quests and stuff like
neat.
that. So this game literally came out 2 days ago. No, sorry, it came out on the 20th. So that's not 2 days ago anymore. But
not long ago,
yes,
last week.
Last week, and
it's brand new.
And so we have a bunch of games that those will be in the Monty Cook Games area, and we love that because there's going to be all sorts of people there who are playing the RPG and playing the board game and playing No Thank You Evil and The Strange and all that stuff, and it's going to be a cool room.
Folks can sign up to play this in a play and win.
Yes, and you will walk away with one of these if you win it.
If you win the game, you'll walk away with a signed copy of the game, and regardless of if you win or not, you'll have $10 at the Loanshark Games booth.
That's right. And then the game that will.
But wait, there's more.
That game just came out. The game that will actually come out at Gencon is this one.
It's exciting, folks.
Still in the shrink wrap. It's Thorn Watch.
Ooh, cool! Yay!
Thorn Watch is a game we did with Penny Arcade, and it is a comic book storytelling RPG sort of ish board game.
Yeah.
And
the art is so cool on this too.
Really,
wow.
pretty.
Wow.
It's got the concept behind this game is, and I just discovered what it's like to try to hold that with one hand. The concept behind it is the expansion. Dark of the Wood, which you can sort of see. So basically, the concept in this one is that you are in a forest that takes over an entire world, and the villagers are always getting into trouble because that's what villagers do.
Sure, as they do.
And their solution to this problem is not to grow a spine and take on everything themselves. That's not one of their options.
I'm not gonna lie, that's how I play
but
RPGs.
Unfortunately, that's not how it went. Instead, they go up to a tree, a birch tree. They tie a bramble knot in it. They prick their thumbs on it, and they summon the ghostly spirits of the Thorn Watch to go out and kick whatever tail needs to be kicked.
Okay. That seems smarter.
You're the Thorn Watch in this game.
Oh, cool.
So you are these ghostly spirits that are just summoned. You got a thing to do. You're
Hell
the fantasy A-team.
Awesome.
Right? And it's the prettiest. It's just an amazing looking. Both these games are just fantastic looking. But I mean, this is I was very simply, I want to be in a comic book. Right, I want to just be the map pieces, which are beautiful. They have a white border around the outside, each one's a panel, and
cool.
The pieces, are sort of, instead of being full figure, they're cut off at the bottom, so as if they were sitting on the border of the panel.
What?
Right,
Oh man, that's really cool.
So it's a super fun game. It's a pretty quick game. It's got a judge and it's up to 5 players, and it will be showing up at Gen Con for the first time.
So, new at Gen Con.
Yeah, and so there's play and wins of that, and it's going to be a blast.
Great.
Oh, and also I think we also have 2 sort of, I guess they're called interactives, where a lot of people will be playing those games at the same time. So there's one event.
Oh, sure.
I think one's on Friday and one's on Saturday. I might be wrong. But
Jordan's got the event schedule up here. You can check them out yourself.
So one's called the Unbound Knot. That's the Thorn Watch one. The other one is called Snake NATO. Snake NATO is the Apocrypha one.
Snake NATO.
It's exactly what you think it is.
Oh, great. Jordan, if you wouldn't mind posting those 2 events,
so
that'd be great.
those are 50 to 100 people playing the same game at the same time.
Snake NATO.
And those are going to be a blast.
Great. Awesome. Well, anything else?
At Gen Con?
Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah. Our booth will have the thing I wasn't able to talk about. And
the cool puzzle thing.
The cool puzzle thing I can't talk about.
Okay.
So come to my booth. We'll have demos of all those games. We'll have a few special things you can't get anywhere else.
Nice.
In terms of, like you'll be able to pick up Dust City Outlaws there.
Great.
By our guy Rodney Thompson, who's our co-designer on Thorn Watch. And yeah, it's just
a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, we had a great we had a great experience at Origins because it was the first time we'd had like a whole bunch of things in our booth and people just coming over for all the reasons.
Yeah.
And now that's Origins, which is a much smaller convention,
sure.
right? Now it's Gen Con. Boom.
Yeah.
We'll have the big booth.
It's real.
Everybody will hopefully enjoy coming to our booth and seeing what's up.
So like Impulse said, for the Play and Win events, it's $20 per event, but it's 2-hour duration, 2 promos, $10 coupon for playing, and then the winner gets a signed copy. Not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal at all.
No, not a bad deal.
I like exactly that's going to be our slogan.
Not a bad deal
at all.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. We're going to have a great Gen Con, I think.
So stop by the Loanshark Games booth on Thursday. If you want to find the cool puzzle thing.
Yeah.
Or you're going to announce it the day before. Is that right?
We'll announce it. Yes,
Okay.
We'll announce it on our site the day before and on another very famous site, which I can't talk about.
Okay, great. we will look forward to hearing from you.
And
until then.
2753. Look at that right there in the chat.
Thank you, Jordan.
That's good.
So stop by their booth. Sign up for a Play and Win for sure. And Mike has promised to shake the hand of everyone who stops by.
I will. I will shake whatever you hand me.
And with that,
bring your shake weights.
prepare to make a GIF of that, please. I will need that for later purposes. Let's give away a badge to Gen Con 2019.
Okay.
Okay?
Can I win? I've never been to Gen Con before.
No, you may not. Sorry.
But
okay. You're going anyway, Mike.
I would have to be. I would have to be in an iron lung to not go to Gen Con.
Oh well, that's you know what? Maybe that'll be our new
slogan. In
fact,
you know what? In all honesty, there's probably 1 year I do go to Gen Con in an iron lung. I can't guarantee that I go the year after that. But like whatever the first year I'm in an iron lung is, we're going to Gen Con.
Like banging on it. On.
That's what I
all
think
right.
Anyway.
To 2735. Thank you, Jordan, for that.
Okay.
So to enter the Gen Con 2019 badge giveaway, all you have to do is type in the word dragon. Just dragon. That's the keyword.
Type it in where?
In the chat.
Oh, in the chat. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I was like ready to go to the Gen Con site and like look. Oh, I got to get through this
not
layer.
A puzzle.
No, it's just type,
not
literally
a puzzle.
type the word dragon.
Type the word dragon into chat.
Spelling counts.
Spelling does count, actually, believe it or not. That's DRAGON, dragon. And that will get you entered. And while that's
the weirdest thing. Like, you just told everybody to write a word, and they all wrote a word.
And then they all write a word.
That's
I know.
an amazing
the power.
amount of power, right?
I know. I should be an X-Man.
I'm just going, yeah.
That's my power.
Is to make you write one word.
That'd be a really bad power.
It depends on the word.
I guess. I mean, like, and it depends on who you're manipulating. Yeah, but I would just be like,
right? You say milkshake, and all of a sudden you just get lines of milkshakes going up.
I would just be like this weird like mutant that popped in for like one comic that's like she's under this senator and she's gonna make him write the word that will end the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well,
I like it.
All right. Looks like Impulse. Right. It is the interactive map is. It's massive.
Yeah. You better have an idea. I guess it's worth saying. When you go to Gen Con, you better have an idea of what you're doing when you go into the dealer room.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that map will tell you, like, you should read it beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're thinking, oh, I'll just wander around until I find the Loanshark booth.
Right.
Prepare to wander.
Yeah, and keep wandering. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have over 500 exhibitors in our exhibit hall alone. You know, so it's a lot of wondering you can do.
Yeah.
All right, let's pick a winner here.
How's that work?
Do you want to press the button?
Oh, is this how this works?
Yeah, you just press this button right here.
Roll it. What?
Oh no. What happened? Oh, it's not case sensitive. Oh no. Okay. All right. Let's find out. I don't think you did anything.
Case insensitive is fine.
Yeah.
But what did I do?
Keyword.
I broke your game.
Regulars.
I have other ways to determine things randomly, by the way. Like there are many. I have a few of those.
Interesting. All right, let's find out here. Nope. Yep. Nope, I don't have a space in front of it.
Do it again.
We'll just keep pressing this.
Okay.
That's weird.
All right.
Well. All right, everyone. Try. I know technology, right, Impulse?
What if, if only we had like a 20-sided die or something? If only,
that's true.
If only we had the ability to randomly resolve something in this game industry.
Did you bring your D20 with you?
I don't know if I have a D20. I definitely have some dice. They all have like symbols on them though. Okay. All right. Here's how we're gonna do.
We'll find a way. We'll find a way.
We're doing that. Okay.
That's okay.
All right. Do me a favor. Pick a number from 1 to 20.
Who,
Just
me?
You.
11.
Okay. I need the 6th person that typed the word dragon.
Oh, okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Us.
I believe that's Alec Eustic. Is that how you pronounce your last name, Alec? All right. Congratulations, Alec. You have won a badge to Gencon 2019.
I won't be here next time you do this, so you should probably fix that. Otherwise, or bring a D20.
Or bring a D20. We'll get it figured out. It's always a fun time with the streams. All right. Well, congratulations, Alec.
Woo.
I did it right. Yes. I pronounced his last name right. I always I feel like so good when I pronounce people's names right.
That's great.
You know. All right. Well, anyway. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Thank you, Mike, for stopping by and chatting with us about your career and your childhood in crime. And
I had never revealed that before. This is really the first time anybody's ever heard that story.
I'm so excited that we know now. Now the internet knows. Thanks for talking to us this whole time today and answering questions. Yeah, it was fun. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you at Gen Con.
I'll be there.
And we look forward to seeing you guys at Gen Con.
Yeah, come up and say hi.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a good night.